another edition of Jeff and Jeff here on Orange Bloods Live. I'm the Jeff with the G. That's the Jeff with the J. This video is brought to you by Groggy Dog. We've got the store out. You can buy your shirts. You can access links by going to groggydog.com, or you can go to any of our socials. You can go to orangebloods.com. We will continue to pump the information out. If you can read the word Groggy Dog, we'll have a link to the store. Good to go. We've got shirts being made. We've got shirts that will be made. The bottom line is, it's on the banner. Their customer service is the difference. Let them help you at the most affordable price possible. Do all of your sportswear. Do all of your printing. Do all of what you need. They can help from a creative side. They can help any side you need. It's one of the
Anything branded, right? Soft,
anything branded.
Whatever. Let's go. Let's put a logo on it. Let's promote. That's what we do.
Simple as that. Jeff, it's been quite a week. Longhorns are now the number 2 team in the country. We were talking about confidence and where you were a week ago, and you were confident, but you weren't cocky.
No.
The question is, as the man of the people, as the people's champion.
Yes, sir. Rocky Balboa, the Rocky Balboa of the people, of the Longhorns.
There it is. As the Rocky Balboa of Texas fans on the internet.
Yes.
Your confidence level with this Texas team now is what?
Scale of 1 to 10?
Yes.
Let's say 8.75. And here's the only hesitation. And I feel almost guilty for saying this, but I think you'll see where I'm tracking from. And I believe, the general voting population will agree with me.
8.75.
I've had to suffer through. Here's why it's not higher. Just because I had to suffer through, I think as you called him earlier, I don't know if you were speaking of him, the Charles Strong or the Chuck Strong era and the Tom Herman era. So they're so fresh. Those are so fresh in my mind that I keep fearing that, there's someone's going to pull the football out from Charlie Brown's,
You sound like a man who
has
been divorced 5 times.
No, dude. I wake up every day. I look to my left, and I hope my wife hadn't changed her mind yet.
No, but I'm telling you, you sound like a guy.
By Texas football.
You sound like a guy who's been divorced 5 times, and you're just you love this woman, but you can't quite say I do yet. Because of previous situations that have left you scarred and hollow as a human being. And I think there were definitely some Charlie Strong years along the way that if somebody says, man, why is your confidence only at an 8.7? They just went into Michigan and did all this. All you have to say is, I lived the Charlie years.
Yes.
And I do feel like you're right. Most Texas fans would go, oh.
Yeah, I'm still haunted. I think I wake up at least once a week with images of Brendan Schooler having the football in his hands in the end zone against Kansas and not being able to make that interception. And then I have to spend the next 7 years of my life explaining how Texas lost to Kansas at home. See? That's the scar. That's the scar tissue.
You have to let that go.
I'm trying, man.
Isn't that one of the great moments in Texas football history? Because they were bringing him back if that doesn't happen.
Good point. Yes, there's a sliding doors piece to that.
It's the butterfly effect.
Yes.
If you change that outcome, Steve Sarkeesian is not the head coach at Texas right now because they would have had to wait another year. Tom Herman gets the LSU job.
Yes.
I don't know that I fully know what happens if they have to wait another year. However, I can tell you for a fact, Chris Del Conte loves James Franklin.
For sure.
Loves him.
They exchange Valentines. Right
after in fact, hold on. Let me just do this real quick. I'm going to look up James Franklin. I do not off the top of my head remember what James Franklin and Penn State did in 2021, but he was a candidate in 2020. He got floated as a trial balloon, and then they just kept losing games, and you couldn't hire the guy based on what happened in 2020. But in 2021, no, they wouldn't have been able to hire him. He went 7-6.
Yeah.
But the last 2 years, he's gone 11-2 and 10-3.
Uh-huh.
And, you know, I'm telling you, if actually where James Franklin may have come into play is Herman gets hired for the 2017 season. But if you had to keep Charlie for another year because of they beat Kansas.
Yes.
Then in 2017, Penn State goes 11-2 and they win the Fiesta Bowl. And if you're firing Charlie Strong, then James Franklin is the head coach and he's probably still here, but Texas isn't close to competing for a national championship. They're winning 10 games every year, but they're not taking that. They're just not acquiring the talent that Steve Sarkeesian is able to acquire. So there you go.
Okay.
If you lose another night on Kansas, it's the best thing that ever happened to Texas football.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Ketchum. Please put that on your tab. Yes.
That's what I'm here for.
That. Yes, sir.
We don't just help sell T-shirts. I walk you through the wilderness and out the other side.
Thank you. I will follow you, Yoda. Yes. Let's do it.
You know, I'm just telling you that.
Okay.
There's an ulterior, you know, there's a Spider-Man universe, like there are parallel universes out there right now.
Yep.
Where James Franklin is the head coach of Texas football. And there's
a
version of you somewhere in this alternative universe that's trying to convince yourself it's okay. It'll happen.
Yeah.
You know, it took 7 years for Mac Brown to do it. You got to give him time. You do all things that you would need to convince yourself that James Franklin would be able to get it done for you. And I just think in reality, look, I was a doubter on Sark.
I recall, actually. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. I was going to maybe call you on that. I remember there was some skepticism coming from Ketch.
Look, I didn't see anything in him in season 1 that made me go, hot damn, that guy's awesome. Like, yeah, they went 5-7. Yeah, this happened. Yeah, that happened. Yeah, he mismanaged the quarterbacks. Yeah, he didn't go into the portal. There were a bunch of yeahs.
Mm-hmm.
But there wasn't a moment in season 1 where I went, man, in this game, the holy you-know-what happened. It could have been the Oklahoma game. But instead, they lose that game.
Yeah.
So you come out of that game. That should have been the game that no matter what their record was, we'd come out of that thing going, hey, say what you will, but he had the play calling hot that day. They cooked him, and that's the thing that could tell you that something great could happen. Instead, we walked out of that game going, that dude can't hold a lead. That guy's not better than Lincoln Riley.
He can't close, yeah.
And all of his talent wasn't on campus yet. And so, yeah, I'm pretty honest about not being really impressed upon my initial impression of him. But he's absolutely won me over in the last couple of years. Look, I'll tell you, it's multifaceted. His ability to accumulate talent. Mm-hmm. The thing that you didn't know about the USC job, Jeff, was that he was there long enough to see what it would look like when he stacked some recruiting classes on top of each other.
Yeah.
But we're seeing that now, and this is a team that people are confusing with Georgia. They don't have as much high-end talent as Georgia does. They don't. I've done the numbers. It's not quite at Ohio State and Georgia level numbers in terms of the number of guys that they signed. However, and maybe this is something that I'll look up in for my 10 Thoughts column this weekend.
Oh, okay. Foreshadowing. I like that.
Their hit rate, I think, is high enough. It's one of those where it's like, well, look, if Ohio State and Georgia are hitting on 2/3 of their super blue chips, but Texas is hitting on 80% of theirs, it may be that's why we look at Texas and Georgia and Ohio State and say, you know, Texas looks like they have the same kind of talent. it might be that they're beating the math with their super blue chips at a level that's why it looks that way. Because I think to the naked eye, people are watching Texas and saying that team to the eyeball is as good as anybody that we're watching. And then the other thing with Sark is he really has been hot as a play caller in his first half of so many games.
The script, the first 20, first 25.
It's so elite, elite that it makes me want to slap people who have said, well, should they take play calling away from him? Would that be best? And it's like, no, don't take the man's superpower away from him. That's one of the reasons why he's the coach, because he can do that. Yeah. And I felt that way Saturday in Michigan. The first half, and against a defense that everybody had a ton of respect for, they just carved them up. And it was just like, Wink Martindale is not better at his job than Sarkeesian is at his.
I felt catch that after that, those first third downs that Texas converted, third and long, and we called the perfect play. Quinn executed, right? At that point, and heck, I think I even looked at my son and I said, "We got this. We're rolling. Let's go." And yeah, it was certainly impressive and definitely sets the stage for the rest of the 24 campaign. Where are you at this week? What do you want to see this week? What do you want to see this week? What's the takeaway that Ketch wants to see from UTSA?
Look, Groggy Dog is the sponsor of the post-game instant analysis.
Yes, we appreciate that.
When the Groggy Dog instant analysis hits at, I don't know, between 9:15 and 9:30 on Saturday night, I want the lead, the very first sentence, to be, hot damn, Texas is good. That's it. I want to come away from UTSA constantly being reminded every single week, God, this team's really good. I don't want seeds of doubt planted.
Yes.
I don't want Wyoming reincarnated where you mess around. And the next thing you know, you're
around fourth quarter. Yeah.
And you're like, wait a minute. Are people from all over the country turning the television on to our game because we've been messing around for 3 quarters?
Yes.
I want the lead this week to be, hot damn, Texas is good at football. And I want the whole column to be singing the virtues of why that statement is true. I don't need any one thing to happen. There's nothing that could happen in an area where I have a question mark, where anything this week, for instance, if Texas sacks the UTSA quarterback 8 times, I'm not going to go, oh, well, then the pass rush is solved. I'm going to go, oh, that is a UTSA team that doesn't have Frank Harris at quarterback anymore. Yes. And Texas State mollywopped them. So Texas State beat them so bad last week. There's nothing that Texas can do that would make you like Texas State ruined that.
Yeah. I want to see the bar. Like, the bar's here now, right? This is how we can play. This is where we've proven we can play. Let's keep the bar here. Let's keep the standard here. And let's beat Texas. Let's be the number 2 team in the nation. Let's continue to prove the point that we're here. And this is what we do in these games. I mean, that's rinse and repeat for Texas, for Louisiana Monroe, and then let's ramp up for.
Well, and that's what the 2005 team did. It pounded the best team in the history of this program. They didn't monkey around with people.
Mm-hmm.
It was not a trip to the zoo.
No,
we're going to score 50 at least, and we're going to humiliate you.
They put them out of their misery early.
Oh, it got to the point. Like, I can remember going to the Missouri game that year at Missouri, and the game was over in the second quarter. It was just over.
Yes.
And Missouri people went into that game thinking they legit had a chance. I'm just telling you, I was there. And that afternoon, they came out of that, and it was like, what was that?
Yeah. Looking for the bus to hit them. Yeah.
And at the end of the year, they were able to say, oh, that was the best team in the country who ended up being the national champion. And then you're able to kind of go, well, what are you going to do? They're that good. You weren't thinking that in real time. That's kind of what I'd like to see of this team, because at the end of the year, our expectations are now Final Four, championship game, competing for it, playing for it, and anything less than that would be a disappointment.
Absolutely.
And I think if you're going to be that kind of a team, play for a national championship game kind of a team, these are the kind of games that are over by the end of the first quarter.
Yeah. And then we see Arch and we see Trey, and we go from there. That's it. That's it. Yeah. I mean, it's since that Michigan game, the reason I get so enthused is that there's so many building blocks, like foundational pieces there for it not to be a one game. Quinn got hot. Davis Warren, couldn't hit the broadside of the barn, whatever, right? Everything is there to be able to repeat that performance and build on it, like Sark said in his Monday presser, right? Find that killer instinct. Yeah, when you win the second half, win the fourth quarter, continue to execute at a high level. All of those parts are there. All of the recipes, all of the ingredients are there. The groceries are there. Everything is there for them to continue to cook.
Jeff, give me a final thought as we wrap up this edition of Jeff and Jeff. You can take it anywhere.
Okay.
You talk more football. You can go recruiting. You can go anywhere. Give me the final thing on your mind at this moment.
Does and or will our performance change? Does the narrative change once it's OU, once it's Georgia, right? Does the fact that, you've got those objects in the rearview mirror that are closer than they appear, when we get to that stage, Red River and or Georgia in the most anticipated game of the year, does this, are we able to maintain? Are we able to stay at that standard and continue to execute and hopefully perform well in those games? That's kind of a final thought here.
Can I give you my worrywart? You haven't reached this next level of worrying with your 8.7.
Okay.
I'm going to plant a seed in your mind that you won't be able to unplant.
Maybe. I don't know. I pound the Kool-Aid, so,
Okay. So the Michigan game was played on what date?
The 7th, September 7th.
So the game against Oklahoma is when?
The October 7th. Or no, 5th? 7th?
Let me just –
I should know this.
I should too, but it's October 12th.
October 12th. Okay, yes. That's
October
Georgia.
12th. So the Michigan game, the Georgia game's the 19th.
Oh, Georgia's 19. Okay.
So we're at a point where, and you're correct, September 7th was the Michigan game.
Yes.
Between now and the Oklahoma game,
okay,
they play UTSA, they play La Monroe, they play Mississippi State, and then between Mississippi State and the Oklahoma game is 2 weeks.
5 weeks.
My concern for this Texas team, low key, is that by the time they will play against Oklahoma, it will have been more than 30-something days since they've had to play what they prepared for a 4-quarter football game. My concern is Texas and OU could be a 4-quarter game.
It always is. It always is.
And UTSA won't, and La Monroe won't, and Mississippi State won't. So Texas it could just be that this Texas team won't have to play at the highest level, completely dialed in, 4 quarters of football. It might be that 30-plus days go by in between those things needing to take place. And it might be the thing that for the Oklahoma game could be the most disrupting, because it might have been 30-something days before they played against somebody that they view as their equal, that they view as and may legitimately have the talent that Michigan does. I don't think the teams they're going to play will. So I'm a little worried that by the time the Oklahoma game rolls around, Texas won't have played in a game an actual high-level game against good competition for 30-plus days.
40 days.
And sometimes that, when we watch bowl games, sometimes you'll get a bowl game where it's like that team looks like it hasn't played in 30 days. And it's like, well, that's because it's been a month. And it's hard to be the same team in a month space if nothing happens in between. You lose your rhythm. You lose, again, I specialize in finding the next thing.
You did.
Two or three things down the road that you're going to worry about.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, by the time we get to Oklahoma, we're going to go, geez, man, Texas hasn't asked any of their starters to play in the fourth quarter all season.
Yeah. Yeah. So, it's tough to keep that execution and to stay on that razor's edge and to be that precise, to make a throw when you got to have it, to make a kick when you got to have it, to make a stop on 4th and 5, make a stop on 4th and 9. It's tough when you're not in that moment repeatedly and learning from those scenarios. That could catch up to you, and you don't want that to culminate in a struggle, and a failure.
Well, you don't want to get a little sloppy because you're playing against worse competition. Yeah. And then that gets to be a bit of a bit of your identity. It's like, well, we were somewhat sloppy in this game. And the next week we came out and fell behind 10-0. And we ended up winning 42-17. But for 35 minutes, it felt like, what are we doing?
Now, let me ask you this, okay? Because I got to follow up to your seed of doubt that you sowed, that Farmer Catch.
I told you once it was planted, it was going to be planted.
Here's my follow-up to you on that. So who are the leaders, who are the players on this Texas team? Because your best team, your championship level teams are player-driven, player-led, player-controlled. Who are the players on the Texas team that squash that? That keep the Longhorns.
This is a Sark thing. I think what Sark has to do is be okay with the idea that the best thing for this team is that it just freaking humiliates a few people.
Yeah.
If UTSA gets 70 dropped on them, look, Sarkeesian is saying to the media and to his players, we had to play at our sharpest level. That our goal is to play to a standard.
Yes, the bar.
Well, if you play at your standard and the other team's not anywhere close to it, hey, man, those are the breaks. Yeah. Sorry, team that's not up to the standard. But the responsibility for this team is to play to the highest standard. You want to be able to go into Oklahoma and go, man, the thing I know about this team is they don't mess around.
Yes,
they come out every week and they just hurt people. You want that to be the standard. What Sark can't do, don't do what he said he was upset about Michigan about. He came out of the Michigan game saying, you know what? We could have been more aggressive. We could have done more than we did. Don't let that be the thing every week that you do where you go, you know what? Upon second thought, after rewatching the game, I wish I'd left Quinn and the starters in there.
Another 2 series.
Into the fourth quarter because I felt like they needed to come out of that game sharp as a knife and not, well, they didn't score the last 3 times, but the game, I want him he's the guy more than anybody else that I want to see every week, geez, that guy shows no mercy. Do your thing for 3 quarters. Make sure this team stays sharp as the sharpest knife in your drawer. And look, man, this is a La Monroe, UTSA, Mississippi State problem.
It ain't us. All gas, no brakes. Hammer down.
It is. Steve Sarkeesian can't go into these games thinking, well, I don't want to embarrass. No, you do, actually. You do.
Yeah.
You want to embarrass them and you want to get your work in. You want an A+ performance from your team. You're going to be upset if you don't get it. So you can't say, well, we don't want to humiliate. Yes, you do. The problem is you can get so good that your humiliation of opponents can take on different levels. Think about what happened to Colorado in the Big 12 championship game.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can be so good that you like moonwalk your way into 7.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're like, I didn't even know.
Yeah.
How did we get to 70? And it was like, well, there was a punt return and a block kick and then a pick 6.
And then Drew Kelson.
And then they couldn't stop us. And the next thing you know, it's like, so 70.
Okay.
I want to see some 50s. In the next 3 weeks, I want to see a 60 and 2 50s.
So you're saying take the over next 3 Texas game, lock it, go to the bank, take it to the card house, put it on the table.
Yeah, probably. Because the thing is, I think they're I would say hammer the spread because I think they're going to win by more than 35, more than I think. I could see a 49-0 game. It's like, oh, crap.
Yeah, which doesn't
they scored basically 50, so they were good.
Yeah. But
the other team was so terrible they didn't get anything. So I like the spread this week more than I like the over.
Okay.
I don't have UTSA scoring this week. So the question is, I don't know
if I've heard you say that yet this week. Okay.
I said it 85-0 was my prediction.
Oh, okay. I must have missed that earlier.
And that's tongue in cheek to some degree.
Yeah.
But if and when they score 63, I'm going to be like,
yeah, close
63,
enough.
75, 85. That's at that point kind of the same thing. So yeah, man. Again, my lead in the Groggy Dog post-game instant analysis piece. Hot damn, Texas is good at football. That's all I wanted to say. You will know if that's the lead that Texas did what they needed to do in that game.
I'm gonna jump on there. 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter, Ray. I'll put it in the chat. I'll remind you. You'll probably go a little early. Y'all get eager. I think y'all started a little early last week.
Look, man, like sometimes the game is over. Like, oh no, we're gonna wait. We're gonna wait until technically the game is over.
So let's start it. Let's roll with it.
Let's get it going because people want their post game.
They do.
They don't want to sit around going, oh, gee golly, what's Sukamel doing? Why aren't we going?
All right, Catch. That's it.
All right. Well, guys, we will do this again. Like, comment, subscribe to the page. Go to Groggy Dog or
just Orange Bloods gear.
Yeah, just go to the search window on Orange Bloods or on our social media. Find all the stuff that we've got linked to the Groggy Dog store. Go shopping.
Yes,
go shopping.
New
high
stuff
quality Orange Bloods t-shirts. We've got new things coming out constantly. Dude, it's what the cool kids are doing, and you want to be cool. So